Hey everybody, Tom here with SixStringSpice. Today we're going to work on a guitar arrangement together, and I'm going to show you a little bit about how I would put this arrangement together, and I'm going to show it to you in real time. No edits, just purely my creative process, you and me going through it one-on-one here. So I started writing some things. Let me get these, let me clean everything up here. I just have a blank measures. I've already entered the title, and of course everyone knows this song, Maybe I'm Amazed. So I'm going to do music by Paul McCartney. Everybody knows who he is. And I'm just going to be showing you a little bit. I'm using Guitar Pro 7 software for this. So I'm just kind of have some basic stuff at the top. I might just kind of set some things up that are normally kind of in my standard headings and everything. So we're going to arrange this today for fingerstyle guitar. Alrighty, and my YouTube channel, SixStringSpice. Alright, cool. So I've played this song before, and I have an idea of the chords. So I'm going to show you what I like to do first. I like to kind of figure out what the bass line is going to be first. So let me enter that just to get started here. And if you guys hear any noises in the background, it's just my cats running around and playing. I have 3 cats. They are all being really silly right now. So let's go ahead, and I'm just looking a little bit at, I do have an idea of what I want to do here. Like the first chord is an A, and I'm going to enter the bass line. So I've got these A's here. Oh, you know what? There's something that I missed. You guys probably already thinking about it. So this first measure, it needs to be not in 4/4 time, but it needs to be in 3/4 time. So let's do that. And there's some mixed meter in this intro. It's about 4 measures, and each measure is like a different time signature pretty much. So we've got this, and then we're gonna have 2 more, let's see, 2 more 1/8 notes here. I want to tie this one over here. So far I've got this. Hopefully you guys can hear that. I'll turn it up a little bit louder if not, so let me do that. There we go. Okay, so we've got the bass notes to the first measure. Now the second measure is in 4/4 time, so let's change this back to 4/4 here. And the chord, anybody? That's right, it's got the F sharp in the bass. Needs to be a quarter note. A big part of learning Guitar Pro is really just kind of being patient and just having a good foundation in rhythm. Even if you don't read standard notation so well, I find that it really helps if you have a good idea of how to read the actual rhythms. So a lot of it is just simply that. Here we go. So we've got F sharp to F, and this is going to become part of a D chord with an F sharp in the bass here and then an F in the bass here. So it's like a D minor. Let's keep going. So we've got, let's see, this needs to be an 1/8 note. So it takes a lot of patience to do an arrangement like this. Hopefully you find this interesting. I just spend hours creating these with no video rolling, not, just doing this off the camera. But I thought it might be kind of cool just to see what I actually do to create a fingerstyle guitar arrangement. And if you guys have questions, you can always use the comments. Again, this is just free knowledge, just giving it away, just showing you my process. I would be really interested to hear about yours. And maybe I'll just kind of share some stuff as I go along here about people that have inspired me as far as arrangers. Kind of come from a jazz background. So a big part of that is arranging solo guitar. And so I've really enjoyed recently, I've been checking out some of Howard Morgan's fingerstyle guitar arrangements. And he was like one of those guys that arranged for like Guitar Player magazine, I guess back in the 80s and 90s. And unfortunately, Howard's now passed away. But he just wrote some beautiful jazz guitar arrangements of, jazz standards like Stella by Starlight and Autumn Leaves and all those things, Blue Bossa standards. And he has a really good book on the George Gershwin one's really good. Not trying to plug his products or anything. I'm just sharing the knowledge of kind of what's inspired me. So while I was talking there, we had a measure of 2/4, and then now we're going to have a measure of 4/4. It's all going to end on the chord A, and I want to get a nice whole note in here. So let me go up here to the A. All right, right there. Let's make that a whole note. All right, beautiful. So I think so far we kind of have this pretty good. I like to have 4, let's have 4 measures here on the front, on the first line. All right, so far it just kind of sounds like. Pretty basic, right? So let's go over, click this 1 here. I'm going to do voice number 1, which I think of as the melody. And the melody note to this, I kind of hear it as like this E here. So let's just use this this E here open. I don't know if you guys have ever listened to the great classical guitar player and arranger and composer named Roland Diens. He's a French classical guitarist. He just beautiful arrangements. He always would talk about arranging, and he would talk about using open strings. He referred to the open strings as the lungs of the guitar, like it helps the music breathe, and I thought that was so cool. So a lot of times when we're arranging, we're trying to do all these, you know, interesting creative things, but really like open strings are your best friend, and that's like the guitar's happy place is open strings, because the notes can reverberate and resonate much better, and the added benefit too is that it's much easier to play. Oh, and the notes sustain longer, so it's really a win-win. So let's see, so we've got pretty standard, I don't know, like sometimes I'll mess around, I might say like, let me make that maybe like a sus2 or something. But I don't want to get too far away from the original spirit of the original song, you know, the way that it's recorded. You know, it's on piano, and it's more of a rock, kind of a bright rock, power ballad, if you will, I guess you could say this song is. Some people might disagree with me on that, but it definitely has that rockish feel. So I might just leave that chord just standard A. So just so you know what I'm talking about, let me actually add the chords in here. So I'm going to do that, just not really too worried about the voicing, but it's the chord A. Okay, let's go over now here to, this chord is going to be D over F sharp, and it has this D in the melody, so I'll make that in the melody. And that's a nice, simple way to do it. Quarter notes. And this just lays really well on the guitar. Again, I don't know the backstory of this song, but it almost makes me wonder, you know, like with Paul McCartney being a multi-instrumentalist, you know, did he compose this on the guitar? Like, what was his process when he was writing this? That'd be really cool. If anyone knows, just go ahead and leave it in the comments. And I just picked this song because it's one of my favorites by Paul after, you know, he left the Beatles and all that. One of his definitely beautiful, beautiful ballads, or power ballads, whatever you want to call it. So that's me just playing it. Okay, so I've got D over F sharp. Let's see if we can get these chords in here now. So I just hit this plus button, and then it'll kind of suggest the chord. I'm not really worried about this voicing here. I'm just more worried about that the symbol is correct and what I'm expecting it to be. D minor over F, perfect. Okay. Let's see what it sounds like so far. Let's do a playback. I just hit the space bar and it plays it. Oh, wait, no, don't want to clear the chord diagram. Hold on, let me close that, then hit the space bar. Here we go. You guys can tell like it's way too fast, so let me go all the way to beat number 1 of the first measure, and then maybe we'll take it, maybe we'll do like right around, let's just keep it kind of slow, like around 80 something. See if this is better. Yeah, that feels a little bit better, right? So I'll just kind of tap the tempo in. It's like 88 or so. I'll check that later against the original recording. I'm not worried though. If something, you know, I don't want to let anything slow me down as I'm arranging something. I want to kind of just, I used to spend days, months, years like agonizing over what are the right notes to use. And now it's like, I find that if I get something down on paper, that's way more important than perfection at first. And you even look at the great musicians, you know, throughout all time, like people like Beethoven, for example. You would hear he would compose and recompose and keep journals and just put stuff in the waste bin, and, you know, and then you dig it back out again. And like, it seems like the people that are successful are the ones that aren't afraid of making a mistake, and they're willing to do iterative, you know, iterative meaning repeat practice, repeat attempts, in order to get something the way they want it. So while I was talking here, this is an E minor, and I think I like that voicing. There's another one let's do that one, because I can move this kind of G major, almost like a G major triad over an E bass. I can move that up to A, which is in the next measure here. Let's just put that in while I'm thinking about it. 5, 6, 7. Let's go ahead. I love having the chords in there, especially if you're following along. You're probably thinking, well, what is he doing? Let's be really clear and put the chord in. And this one's going to be A major. Let me save it. Always good to save your work before your computer crashes. All right, so just a really nice plain vanilla kind of arrangement. Like I said, it's good to just get something on paper first, and then you can go from there. So we've got this as a whole note, okay? And, you know, in the original recording, it's kind of like a fermata and everything. It's just held out, kind of let it ring out. Maybe I'll do, I don't know, maybe I'll do let ring, just to be really clear about that. So now why is, you see how that turned red? Look. Somebody answer that, right? It's because this 2/4, that measure needs to be, I want a whole note, so I need to do what? That's right, change it to 4/4. Okay. And I want to, let me enter a section break here, I guess, because, yeah, that's the end of the intro. It's also good, too, just for your performer. You can indicate intro by adding text to it. So there we go. Nice 4-bar intro. Good. If you have questions, just use the comments and everything. If you guys are enjoying this, please subscribe if you're finding that this is valuable for you, and it's just cool to see somebody do this in real time and kind of warts and all. It's not perfection, not at all. You can see me kind of, I'm still getting a feel for a guitar pro myself. It's hard. Sometimes it's hard to talk and compose. Never done that before, as you can see me messing up. But it sure is a lot of fun. So thanks for being here with me. So right now, I'm actually breaking my own rule. I started writing the melody out, and I like to use my creative process differently. I don't always like to do things the same exact way every time, because how is that creative, right? So I'm gonna actually, let me put the melody in here, because I love this melody. 16th notes. Just trying to think. I guess he's so, baby, I'm amazed. Is he? Okay, I'm not a singer, so sorry everybody. You can get your hands off your ears now. So we've got G in the melody. Sounds da da. Yeah, and then in this. So by the way, we're back to 4/4. We're not going to really change from 4/4 for the rest of the song. So yes. So let's see. You've got G. That should be an 8th note. Then 16th note. Yeah, there we go. So G to E. I'm going to do another 16th here. I really am a big fan of using the keyboard when I'm doing Guitar Pro. I don't like to touch the mouse. One of the guys that I would recommend, there's a lot of Guitar Pro tutorials on YouTube, but one that I found a lot of value in was Levi Clay. He has some really good, so shout out to Levi for some really good Guitar Pro tutorials, just in general. I don't think he knows who I am at all, but I follow his channel and it's great. Super duper good content. Thanks, Levi. So anyway, let's keep going here. I'm actually going to put the bass note in now. So I have to go over here and click 2. And I want to enter, I entered as a separate voice because I like to have the distinction there with, see how the stem's going down, the stems are going up, and the other one I just wrote in the melody. So the bass note here is B flat. And I'm thinking maybe this needs to be a quarter note bass. Yeah, I think I like that. Actually, I like that a lot. So let's keep that in. And then the open A. So this is one of those chords called F/A. It's a slash chord. It's like a chord with an inversion in the. So it's an F major with an A in the bass. Now, since we don't have a chord here, I'm just going to maybe beef it up with maybe an octave. Yeah, let's do an octave. That might sound kind of nice. Yeah. Now, I'm not a big fan of this A sharp, so I'm kind of torn. Like, to me, this tune is like, what key is it in, right? Is it in the key of, starts off on an A chord, and then it goes, the bridge kind of goes like into like this D major, but then the verse starts on B flat. So we kind of have to make a decision about key signatures. I'm just going to write it without a key signature right now, but I'm going to correct these to B flat because I like that better than A sharp here. And then when I go to add, if I go to add like a chord here, like if I go back to number 1, I have to do that and then go plus. It won't really tell me anything suggested. It doesn't know what to do with this. So I'll go here and I'll just call it B flat. I'm not worried about the voicing here so much because we're not really, this is a fingerstyle guitar arrangement, not like a chord voicing diagram. Just not the purpose. So I've got B flat. And then let's see if it recognizes this. Nope, it doesn't. So we can just select it, F, and then we can actually, I'm going to call it F major. And then you can change the bass note, so F major / A, and that's, this voicing, I'm not worried about the voicing so much, but I do like the name. That's the correct name for me. Okay. Oops. I want to hear another note besides just A and this F here, you know, besides just these two. So let's harmonize it with something a little bit thicker. Ooh, that's nice. So the biggest thing when you're arranging is to trust your ear. And you have to kind of try stuff out, so that's going to be a lot of what I'm doing here. So I've added in these extra notes to kind of fill out the F chord. And I don't want it to be too unplayable. I want it to, well, I always want it to be playable. But I don't want to do anything too daring because it is a pretty quick tempo here. And then maybe let's do this again here. So da da. And then we've got this C here. I know I'm going to like that note with that. Maybe the open G. Got to tune my guitar up. The guitar I'm playing is a nylon string. Godin Multi-Act is one of my favorite guitars. The only thing is, you know, with nylon strings, you got to be a little bit more careful. The intonation's not always perfect. So, and it tends to go out of tune when it gets hot or gets warm. So, there we go. Okay, so we've got the melody. Let me go over to voice 2 now. Let's add the bass note in here, which will be C. And I'm going to change that to quarter note pulse again, so another C. And if you kind of think about the next chord, it's another C, but it's one of these C's with a G major triad over top of it. So let's do a G major triad like that. Just keep it simple. All right, let's play it and see what it sounds like from the beginning of the verse. Before I play it, I'm going to mark this as the verse. Save it. Here we go, ready? Okay, so kind of hearing something around here. I want to beef that up, fill it out a little bit more. what? There's also something missing here. There's a tie missing here. So let's see what that sounds like with a tie now. Much more natural, right? That sounds more like the way that Paul sings it. Why don't we put, it's still a C chord here. So let's add that to the chord library. I don't really like C5. I like to just put major, just more options. Sometimes it's better to be, don't worry about being super precise with your chord symbols, because when you're playing fingerstyle, you're sometimes grabbing extensions and kind of playing contrapuntally. That's hard to say. Playing contrapuntally, playing counterpoint within that tonality of C major, you know, for example, right here. All right, so we've got, the big thing here is the bass note comes in on beat 2. It kind of stabilizes everything, and then you have this 16th note here on the and kind of like the 1E end of beat 2, 1E. And so maybe we need to fill this out. Maybe I'll drop another G in here. Yeah, just gets that nice 5th interval. If I wanted to jazzify it some more, I could maybe put something a little more exotic in there. It's a major 7th. What do you think about that? Nah, it doesn't really work, so let's just leave it simple for right now. Oh, yeah, okay, that's better. So this is the G over C chord here, and Guitar Pro recognizes that. So we've got the chord and the bass note again. We'll leave it. Like I said, your goal with arranging is just to get some things on paper, or in this case, on a computer screen. And then later on, you can come back, you can add in some of the other devices, and like I said, moving lines, counterpoint, all of the fancy schmancy stuff that makes our arrangement different from the next person's and all that. Now right here, this is kind of a, if you think about what Paul does on the piano and the bass, there's like this unison where he does that walk up, you know? And I love on the original recording, it really hammers on the piano. Like, you know, it's really like kind of aggressive. And we're gonna notate that. And I know I wanna have that in the bass part here. So let's just go ahead and drop it in. So I know we need an 8th note, like that. And then now it breaks out into 16th notes. And I'm just gonna kind of see what the normal chromatic suggestions are here. So C, and then C sharp. And then let's go to keep it in all 16th notes still. Now we're on beat 3. So we're gonna, if you think about the math there, we need to have 8 more notes between beat 3 and 4. So we got D, D sharp. Let's just put this in a nice guitar friendly finger pattern. So go all the way up to the 4th fret here, and then we'll cross over to the open G. And then we're kind of running out of room here, right? So there's our A, natural, and you remember the next chord here is going to be B flat, so that's where we end up. So our target is B flat, right where we started here at the beginning of verse 1. So we're going to have another B flat here. Let's just drop in that bass note with it to make it an octave. Okay, back to this measure right here. So we need to put B flat. Yeah, this is B flat again, right? So we need to do another kind of B flat. Those A sharps are messing me up. All right, much better. Let's change this accidental or enharmonic note rather. What did I just do? Oh, you can always do Control Z. I guess I clicked this somehow. Okay. So always do Control Z to undo an action, just like any Windows program. So we've got bass notes, and we need to. So what did I? Do you see what I did wrong here, or you know, questionably? The bass. See, these are facing up and everything. These really need to be like voice number 2, honestly. So they really shouldn't be voice 1. I'm not too worried about it though, but like if I just click on each one, if you make that mistake, you can kind of like switch them up, looks like, hopefully. Let's see, voice 2. Yeah, now what is it telling me to do? It wants me at 1. I'm just gonna retype them because I want these stems facing down. That's my fault, I was talking and trying to type at the same time. So I want these to be flats, not sharps. Let's see what it sounds like. Yup, nice and basic quarter notes with the stems facing down. I'm not going to worry about these stems here facing up because that's just going to be a single note line anyway. So let's add in now, let's go to voice number 1, the melody. And let's go ahead and enter the rhythm here. So we need to, all right, well, let me get the melody note in there. It needs to be this 3rd fret here. Kind of got some weird stuff going on here. Let's see. And I would like for this to be, more of a, let's just do a quarter note. And let's make these into 16th notes. Do you see what's going on there? So it's kind of beaming these together. So if you ever run into that, here's what you do. Just get rid of everything. Whatever's in there, you need to start over basically. So I think if you go in here, you can go over to delete bar. And then the beautiful thing is you can just do bar and then you do like insert bar. Voila. Now you've got a whole new fresh slate to start from. So pro tip, if you get stuck, don't try to like figure out what you did wrong. I'm actually glad I did that while I was writing this for you so we can explain how to fix that. So now bass notes, voice 2. And then here, I'm gonna write in my bass notes that I want for this measure, B flat, A again. And now we'll go over to voice 1. Now we can write the melody in here. Yeah, that looks so much better. Let's do a dotted 8th note rest. Hit enter, and that'll kind of enter the rest for you. And if you hit the asterisk button on like your number pad, that'll kind of toggle between the dotted note and the undotted note. So whenever you do a dotted note, you have to undot it. So let me click that, toggle that off, and let's do a 16th note here. There we go. Now we're on beat 2. Our melody is here. And then down there. And then we're back to, we want an 8th note here. And we want a 16th note. Again, anyone who's made it this far, congratulations, you are a trooper. You're the kind of person that I like for hanging out. Again, hopefully you're getting some kind of value out of watching this happen in real time. And I want people to know that like this takes a lot of time. This isn't just something that comes natural to me at all, really. It's just a matter of not giving up and pushing through with it and wanting, like literally wanting to be creative, like wanting your idea to be on paper. You have to want it, or else you would end up just trying to find somebody else's arrangement, which is a good thing to do, to learn somebody else's style. And you know, like I was saying, Howard Morgan, another guy that's like really amazing, that I love his books. His name Bill Pyburn. He's also the editor of, I think, Fingerstyle Guitar Journal. His arrangements are always really amazing. Again, I'll talk more about it. Not a plug or anything. I don't think he has no idea who I am, but it's something that I would totally recommend his arrangements. You can learn a lot from a master like Bill Pyburn, for example. And it doesn't hurt either to just go through some piano sheet music. That's why it's really important to learn how to read music when you're doing this sort of thing. So I wanna enter. Remember how I did this bass note wrong, right? So I need to get these stems to be beamed down. Let me just delete this. This is going to be a problem. All right. So I might have got myself into a little bit of a cluster here. Let's see if we can just do bass note. And that looks okay. Now what's going on with this next measure, right? It's kind of like it's missing half of a beat or something. So you can also do like note. You can do a lot of stuff. You can enter, I think it's under bar. Well, we already did that. Let's see, where is it? You usually can add a beat. Where is it? Oh, here we go. It's the first result. Insert a beat. All right. So we've got a beat here. Let's insert another one. We can always delete it out later. All right, so we've got some stuff happening here. So we need to do, I want to make this a 16th note. And then I want to make this a dotted 8th note. And I want it to be a C. So let's see, that's a quarter note, 8th note. Dotted. Yeah, all right. This needs to be tied to the previous. Let's not that one. It needs to be tied to the previous one. Doesn't want to work. So why is that, right? Must be because it's voice 2 and this is voice 1. So this is one of those things where you have to just constantly pay attention when you're doing multi-voice arranging, or you will kind of make those little time sapping types of little errors like that. Hopefully when you're doing it, you're not talking at the same time. But yeah, so we've got the bass note. Let's make that a dotted 8th note. All right, so I want to make, see how this is voice 1 and voice 2. Don't want that. It doesn't like that. It doesn't want me to delete that. Cool. So let's see what we have here. We have that in voice 2. Don't really care for that so much. So I think what I'm going to do, I want to save this. I want to save what I typed here. And I want to have this, let's see, let me just go back here. Okay. That's a little bit better already looking. Now we have the right number of beats in this measure. Get the bass note in there. Actually, you can tell we're still missing one beat. Still missing one beat. Where can I insert it? Why don't I do like right here? Just see how it wants to do it on voice 2. We've got to insert the beat on voice 1. Okay. Kind of it doesn't always give, you have to kind of do the math on it. It doesn't always give you exactly what you're expecting. Like if you have it on a 16th note, it might just insert a 16th, right? Because that's the last rhythm that you used. So like here, use the dotted 8th, and now I want a 16th, and now I have this sort of 16th-y rhythm here. I'd like for this to be gone, quite frankly, and then I would like for this to be, this note here needs to be just a quarter note. Let's see if we can just change, I mean an 8th note, let's see if we can just change that, and then let's see if we can delete this 16th. And voila, just like that, the math all works out now. So we've got exactly what we wanted. Let's tie that, tie it over the bar line so it does this parenthesis like that. All right, and after all that work, we can add in the chord. It's just a standard C. And back here is a standard B flat chord. So put that in there. Sweet. Oh, and then we got one here. Remember that one, F/A. Okay. I'm not really worried too much about the accidentals here. Let's hear what it sounds like. Okay, so bass note C. Yep. All right, so at this point we've gotten like the first 8 measures done. Let's go ahead and play it back and see what everything sounds like from the start. Oh, that's awesome. Okay. If I can say so myself. So I love this song. I think so far it sounds pretty, it definitely has the feel of the original, I think. And we're really just doing bass note and melody here. It's nothing all that fancy. And sometimes that's exactly all you need to make it sound good. All right, let's get rid of that 16th note. Let's make that a quarter. Oops, I don't know why it's going backwards on me here. I'm just doing Control Z to undo that. So I wanna go ahead and edit that. Let's go ahead and get that fixed up. That needs to be 1st fret B flat. And we're gonna have a similar chord progression here, repeating. That needs to be a quarter note. Yep. An open A. Open A. All right, now this is voice 2, which is kind of like, a little bit back. Well, actually, it's voice 1, exactly what we want it to be. Now we can edit. Quarter note, hit enter to accept the rest. Hit enter. Yeah, it's not always a guaranteed thing here. Let's see, G. Yeah, I guess, and ideally I do want that to be a B flat because that's like the target note of that phrase. So yeah, I definitely do want that note there. Change my mind. And that's the other thing, you're allowed to change your mind if you want to go back and redo something. It's really good to not be locked into kind of like, in terms of creativity, it's good to always go back and just, anything can be changed. Especially if you say you're writing an arrangement for somebody and you give it to them and then they play it and they look at you and they're like, what did you do here? You have to have an open mind about, well, maybe, the way that you write or that I arrange or write is just not going to work for everybody else. And just be able to kind of tailor it to the needs of the player that you're arranging it for. And if you're arranging it for yourself, you have to also be really honest about your own limitations. I do find that if you write something a little bit above your current level, your current technical level, then that can in turn sort of inspire you to practice harder. It could also have the opposite effect and be demoralizing if you're trying to practice it and it's just like written at like a grade 10 and you're playing as like a grade 6, for example. So you have to be really honest about where your current skills are at. So let's add in some chords. B flat, this is that F/A again. And I liked what we did last time. So a cool thing you could do, see the melody changed, it went from 3rd fret to 5th fret here. Here it just went 3rd to 3rd. I could have just copied and pasted this in here. So watch this, just kind of highlight what you want to do, copy, Control C, and then paste, Control V, and there it is, and I just change that to the 5th fret. And that's an easy and time-saving way to recycle parts of your arrangement. Let me do it, let's see if I can do it on this measure too, because there's some stuff in common here. Let's see, so I've got it here. Will that work? Yeah, it worked. Some things it did not copy. It didn't copy voice 2 with the bass notes, so I got to add those in. Just like that. It's not too bad. So it's still C, and then here we know that the chord is going to change to G. And we need to edit this melody that we copied over from the other measure. It's just going to end on G. And I think this should actually be a quarter note. Let's get rid of these for right now. Maybe knock them down to maybe like a 8th note, dotted 8th note. Yeah, and then we need that melody note. All right, so let's talk chords. What's that one? F over A, right? What's this one? Look at the bass note. It's a C, C major. G, we don't have that one in our chord chart yet. Can't believe it. Okay. Just basic old G major. Just like that. There we go. Now it's added. We need to do a little more work here. So there's going to be 2 G's in a row here. And that's going to be tied over, so that's correct. And there's not going to be, so this here is right, but then this note here, not a D, it needs to be an E. Right, you can just hear it, listen. Well, hold on, wait a minute, there's one that's messed up. We need to go down. Oh, here's what's going on here. This needs to be a G, and this needs to be tied to that, so it's a little bit earlier. Pulled me out of time, right? It's a lyric there. Pulled me out of time. Now this is just begging, this G is begging for some harmonization, so. Why don't we just start with something kind of basic, maybe? Just do your opens, you know? There's no rocket science here, really. Just what sounds good. And remember, the open strings are like the lungs of the guitar. They're the oxygen. It helps the arrangement breathe. One other thing, if you made it this far, you're probably thinking, well, what is he doing? Like, what's his concept? And one of the things I'll do is I'll just kind of play through by ear to get an idea of where I want it to go. Just playing this with myself now. I'm not playing what's written, I'm just trying to... You can see that what takes the most time here is just put it on paper. And I'll try to figure out what's the best position on the guitar to voice it. So I know I like this... I like this B flat major here. Not the sharp 11, just the regular old major 7. And I like this F over A here. And then I know I need to get to this A flat later. Right, then we're ready to go into the verse now. But let's just talk about how to fill out some other things here. So we know we need to have, let's see, B flat. This is, to me, it's just, it needs something else in here. I'm going to add in this 5th interval. And I like, because look, that's a common note now with the F over A where there's the 3rd fret here too. I like the fact that there's commonality or carryover between those chords, so we'll add it there too. Add it there. All right, so. Let's also do that proper, like we did before with the F. We added in the 1st and the 3rd fret to fill out that chord. Maybe I'm thinking about this F over A as like an F7. I don't know, maybe I'll just leave that B for now. Actually fill out this chord. That's a better candidate to have a nice full sounding chord on it, like the C add 9 sound, like that. Especially to contrast with this single note chromatic line, it's nice to have a big lush chord right before you do a single note run. And I'm just looking to see if there's anything else that I could fill in. Again, we could always come back to it. Let's listen to this part one more time. It's like it's missing something, so. What about like a moving, like these nice 6th number, like number 6, 6th intervals? We could do maybe a 6th interval here, on, I don't know, maybe on this 5th fret. Let's beef that up some. Yeah, and then let's keep going for now, because that should be plenty. All right, now we've got 3 measures. I like to kind of see 4 measures per line here, you know, like 4. Wait, why? I must have done something over here where I messed this up again. Let's go ahead and fix it real quick. This measure does not like me very much, that's for sure. So, yeah, I guess I wasn't looking or paying attention here. It doesn't like this bass note, this quarter note bass note, I guess. So I'll come back to it. Again, it's not a huge deal right now. But yeah, so we have only 3 notes in the ending here. Yeah, that must be what's going on. Fun. So let's insert a beat again. And then let's go ahead and fix that real quick. 3rd. And then we need to make these like 8th notes again, 16th notes again. Here we go. Yeah, now it's fixed. Let me not mess that. Let me not mess that one up again. So we're ready to play the B flat now. Next measure, let's input the bass notes, just like we said at the beginning of this video. It's good to always put your bass notes in first, so you know where the ground floor is at. Okay, and I'm thinking that maybe I might actually don't want to keep using this 1st fret. I changed my mind. I'm going to use the 6th fret B flat. And that's because of what is going to be coming next. We call this voice leading. Like the voice leading meaning, you know, I'm not going to give you the academic version of it, but my version of it, it means like how one note in a chord flows to another note in a chord in a very simplistic definition. And usually you want your voice leading to be nice and fluid and stepwise and to have logic. And it's always nice to get like chromatic half-step motions and trying to not make big jumps most of the time. So right here, let's change that. At 8 sharp drives me nuts. Do B flat. And then this will be an F sharp over A chord when all said and done here. And then this will be an A flat, not a G sharp. Let's do A flat. I don't know, I just like to think in flats more most of the time. And then now our last chord will be C. So we'll just input that bass note C. Maybe I'll do a whole note just to kind of let it ring out, keep it simple. Okay, now click on voice 1 so we can input the melody. We're going to do the 5th fret here. And let's do an 8th note followed by 2 16th notes. And this note will be, let's do it on the 8th fret, like that. And then this needs to be a 16th note, G. There we go, 8th fret. And then let's do a dotted 8th note, just like this. And we're going to do a quarter note. To get rid of the dot, you have to do the asterisk, and we'll get rid of the dot. Do a quarter note. And that'll be tied there. And then this is a rest, so you just kind of hit the, see how it's red? It's because you need to actually hit the enter button to accept the rest and turn it from gray to black. That'll input it. Now it's happy. It's got 4 beats in the measure. Let's fill out the chord here. This is a B flat major chord. Just label it. B flat major 7 if you're really thinking about that melody note. A, you know, on the 5th fret of E. There's a lot of cool things we can do here. let's just get one of the other important chord tones, which is here on the 7th fret, the note D. Whenever it lets me input it, I'm typing, it's not happening. There we go. And then here, we're still on beat 2. I'm gonna add in something kind of cool. I like to foreshadow the F chord. So I've got the D. Let me point to them. So I've got the D in it here. I'm gonna foreshadow the F chord because that's gonna have this note C in it on the 5th fret. And then that's gonna also have that in it. Nice triad and first inversion. Let's just play that again. It's nice to hear that ring out. Here's what it sounds like. Sounds kind of forced, like the rhythm's just a little too mechanical or something, but it must just be the playback. Da, 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 da. No, it's tied right. Let's see. Yeah, it is going to sound much better when we have the next melody part come in. All right, cool. Guys, still with me? Good. So if anybody's getting tired, it's got to be me, but hopefully you're still here. If you have any, I think it'd be really cool to get to a point where maybe people like would even want to like work on these arrangements and maybe play them. And if that's something where you want to kind of interact, that'd be great. Like if you wanted to post your version of it, share it with me. You could put it right in the comments or something like that. That'd be really cool. I would feel really flattered if somebody thought this was good enough to actually work on and practice and make a part of your repertoire. And it's all free. I mean, I'm not, honestly, I don't make any money off of these YouTube videos from YouTube or advertisers because I have like, you know, it's pretty simple how I run it. So the only money I make is just free will donations and stuff like that. And you can also, I'm thinking about putting some of these on my website once I have the PDFs done and ready. You know, the Guitar Pro printouts from all these arrangements I'm doing. I will try to post those on my website. But yeah, honestly, it's just being given away. But any donations you can make really helps because like I do have costs obviously involved with the Guitar Pro software and the recording equipment. And then obviously, you know, all the stuff that it takes to run a YouTube channel, which, man, I didn't think it would be. You know, it's kind of a big investment, really. But it's totally worth it. Especially when you meet cool people who are like-minded, who inspire you. I mean, it's just a kind of a cross-pollination of ideas on YouTube, especially with guitar players. And that's pretty cool. All right, enough of my rambling here. So while I was talking, I was just going through and adding in some more of the melody notes. And I'd like to add in, so I'm working on this A flat chord here. Let's see what it sounds like the way I wrote it. Yeah, it sounds really clunky, right? So I'm gonna remove some of these notes. When that happens, you know, you've got a little too much information in there, right? So, you know, melody, chord, harmonic information. I mean, it's just the nature of this melody being in 16th notes. And then we've got this here. This is an E flat over G chord. Let's label, let me go back here and label this one. It's going to be A flat major. Doesn't like that. Let me do that. There we go. If you're wondering really what it is, A flat major with a 6th or a 13th, you can kind of call it. I don't want to get too fancy here. Let me just be normal and just call it A flat. And then G, you could call this E flat. So we could do, you got to hit this, then do flat like that. Major. Very important though to put the inverted note, so it's over a G bass. Not a G flat, just a regular old G. Every time you do that, then you have to click over here to put it right there. Don't forget that. And I missed this one. This was F over A. You know, let me get rid of that one. Now it looks a little bit more symmetrical. Get rid of that one too. Remember, less is sometimes more. Cool, and I'm gonna fix that to an E flat, not a D sharp. Just like that better. Same with that one. I like E flat much better because it's an E flat chord, right? Got to fix that one too to from a B flat. I mean an A sharp to a B flat, please. You need to go into voice 2 to do the bass note, and you can edit that. Cool. Okay. And it got the A flat all good over here, so that's nice. Sometimes Guitar Pro, well, actually most of the time Guitar Pro is fantastic. It's just a couple little tiny things. It's really just so customizable, so it's not even a bad thing. It's just a matter of kind of knowing what you're doing. All right, so we've got pretty much everything that we need in this final part. Now, we're just about to wrap up the verse. So, and I've been doing this the whole time. I haven't taken a break or anything, just consistent, you know. When you're arranging, you should take breaks, you know, so you can kind of be creative. You need to probably take a couple days to arrange something, even something this short, so you can sleep on it. So if you do something, you know, that make sure that when you wake up the next day and you look at it, that it still makes sense, still like what you did. Like you want to avoid like arranging something like all in one day and then just posting it on YouTube. You know, you want to have some time to self-edit and self-reflect. So that's what I will do with this for a while, kind of mull it over before putting it out there. All right, so you can already see the rhythm. There's a couple of rhythmic things here that need to be updated, fixed, however you want to call it. And then we've got, let's see, E flat, D, and this is actually an eighth note. We need another D right here. And then in the melody here, let's continue with the D. And then let's make this a dotted eighth note as a C. And let's tie that over the bar line. And our melody's going to work out. Alrighty. Oh, and you know what? That should not be a G. So that should be a C. Go back into voice 1. So we can fill it out, just like we did before. Make it like a C add 9. Cool. Now this E is like, E flat over G is like begging for extra notes in there, so. I like this sound a lot. This just simple, pleasing triadic, kind of triad-like sound. So. Alright, so we have that. That's probably fine. I don't want to muck it up too much with extra stuff in there. Let's get ourselves a half note here. And then that way we can just tie this up with the rest of the measure. That's already half, well, that's a whole note. Okay, so voice 2 is good, perfect. And then there is going to be a rest, quarter note rest. Here, so you got to hit that and then hit enter to accept the rest. Now, I'd rather not have this little bar hanging out here. I'd rather just kind of affix it up here in that line. Then we can start the chorus right here going forward. It's easier to, more logical to see it like that instead of have like, you know, like the measure down here just hanging out and then the chorus starts like right here. That wouldn't make much sense with the setup of the music, with the musical score. It'd be confusing for the performer. So, wow, now that's interesting. I was talking and then I was kind of messing it up. That's better. All right, so with the, I know I called it the chorus, but it's more like the bridge, I guess you could call it too. So here, we know that we need to have a rest on beat 1, and then we get into this 16th note business now. You know, this is the, you know, where he's singing like, you know. Yeah, and the melody like that, so. I like to play this on like the 5th and the 7th fret. You can do some cool stuff too with like extensions and all, but like usual, we're just getting the notes on the page here. So we will first do a bass note, D. Let's make it a quarter note. I like to keep the quarter note pulse once again. And even in throughout the next measure, it's still going to be a D all the way until like beat number 4, and then we have this F sharp. So I know I want that later. I'll just enter it now. That'll make things go a lot quicker. Right, and then we know we're back to D. Let's go back to open D. I like the open strings. And then again, I'm just following along with the song as I know it. Kind of looking a little bit at some of the sheet music for the piano too. So that, like I said, you can be influenced by that. It's really important to know the melody and also to refer to anything you have to arrange a song. Da, 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 da. So we got pretty much a good place to start from. So let's start adding in the melody now. Let's do the 5th fret here. And, oh, actually, that needs to be a rest, because this comes in on the 2nd beat. Now I want this to be, let me back up just a little bit. I want these to ring out. So instead of doing these in voice 1, I'm probably better off doing these in voice 2. I'll show you what I mean in a second here, like doing the 7th fret there, and now I can go over to voice 1 again, and I can have my 16th notes. Okay, so see this? Now, if I go to multi-voice, you can see that these are going to ring for a quarter note, these 2 7th fret notes. Yeah, that's a little bit closer to the sound that I want. In fact, that is the sound that I want with this. So that's good. All right, now I'm going to keep going with this melody here. Let's be careful though to not be, see how look at that, how it jumps over from voice 1 to voice 2 when I just do that. I have to click on voice 1 to keep doing the melody with the up stems. Now this will be a bass, I mean melody note. And then this will be a like that. Yeah, okay, cool. And like we did before, let's jump back to voice 2 and let's enter in the rest of the chord. Now this is an A chord over a D bass note, so we're going to enter that. While I'm talking about it, maybe I should just fill in the chord for you guys. Let's go over here. So this chord is, let's just put it right here, D, just D major. And this is A over D. Good, and Guitar Pro knows what it is. And let's also make sure we're in voice 2, because we want these to ring out with the bass note, same length of time. And then now we have something that sounds kind of like this. Yeah, that's pretty good. Okay, and now let's see. Let's go back to voice 1, and we'll get our melody note here. This needs to be an 8th note, followed by A to B and a 16th note. Like that? Yep. All right, there we have it. All right, cool. And now if we keep going, again, I'm recording this all in one take. No cuts, no breaks, no nothing. Just pure, raw, unfiltered. Me and you just working on this together. So I'm getting tired. Let's keep going though. I'm going to finish up this bridge part, and then I think we'll call it a night. We'll come back with fresh eyes, another session here. So I've got 7, 5, and then 2 of these guys, and then we need an 8th note. And then now we need this note here, which is a nice bluesy note, right? Like the blues scale on the key of D is what what he's drawing from, theoretically here is bluesy, earthy kind of feeling that this song has. That's what makes it cool. Let's listen to it just with that melody and bass. Yeah, I mean, it sounds a little bit forced, right? It doesn't sound as smooth as a vocalist like Paul would sing it, but it's going to be good for our arrangement. So going back into voice 2, adding in the other, like the internal parts of the chord, if you will, to fill it out. This nice A minor chord over D. Let's add the chord while we're at it. And now Guitar Pro doesn't, you could call it C major 7 over D, but not for the purpose of this particular song. Call it A minor over D in the bass. And actually more precise to make it A minor 7. Even more precise to call it A minor 9. Let's see if we can do that. So extension, you can just grab the 9. Yeah, I like that best. All right, A minor 9. And then we could, I don't want to clutter this up too much. So let's also put the internal voices on this 3rd beat here. So we didn't put them here on the 2nd beat. I just don't want too much harmonic chord clutter. Right? So you have a beat 1, beat 3, you have the full chord being played, for example. So A minor over D. And then this, like on beat 4, this is actually its own little chord if you want to kind of, like D, you could do like a D7 kind of here, or like a D/F sharp with that blues note in the melody. Yeah, I just have to kind of feel that on the guitar for a minute to make sure that's what I want. Yeah. Ooh, that'd be cool to do like a C bass somehow in there. Yeah, actually, that was just sort of a happenstance thing. I didn't mean to do that, but let's make that in voice 1 as part of the melody with here. Let's see what happens if we play a C. It kind of makes it more of a D7 sound that way with the C. Yeah, and then that gives us this opportunity to play. See, now I'm getting inspired, right? So when you get tired, that's sometimes is when your best ideas come, is when you start to get tired and you want to give up or take a break. Yeah, no, maybe not like that bluesy. Sometimes it's nice to, when you have these like high-pitched chords, to juxtapose that with a nice deep, more bass-centric type of voicing. That's actually really good to have contrast no matter what in an arrangement. That's one way to do it, is to kind of vary your voicings. Almost like a call and response kind of thing. I'm just playing random chords and different registers. Anyway, so that would be a G major here. And then we said that this was a D7. I don't think we have a D7 yet, so let's add in. It's gonna call it D minor. I mean, that's kind of cool actually. D minor over F sharp. That's actually pretty accurate as to what that is. So let's keep it, even though it's not what most people would call that. So, and look at how quick it happens. It just happens for literally a half of a beat. Ooh, it happens for a half of a beat, and then it resolves right here. So it's like tension, resolution on the G, resolution right here, right? So you can get away with that kind of stuff. It sounds like it was made to be there, even though it sounds so wrong when you repeat it. It sounds great in the right context. So, all right, if there's one thing you take away from today, it's really all about context when you're arranging. It's one of the reasons that, when you look at really cool books like chord books, especially like Chord Chemistry by Ted Green. If you haven't heard of that, check that book out like tonight. Chord Chemistry. The way to use those books is to know the right context to use all those chords. You don't just go off and play all those chords one after the other, on a gig or something. You have to kind of be familiar with how they work with one another in the right context with other chords. So some chords do not play well with others, is what I'm trying to say, and others do. And others work great everywhere. They're just consonant, and they're beautiful, and they sound pretty almost no matter what you do with them. They're on a standalone basis. And others would only sound good in the right context, or maybe something like, it just depends. All right, so for now, let's just go ahead, and I think we've done plenty for right now. We're pretty much just going to take a break right at this point. We've arranged the intro, the verse, and the bridge. So last step, just to be really clear before we take a break for now, let's label that the bridge. And it's kind of bugging me that this measure is incomplete looking. So I do want to let me just drop some rests in here for right now, so it doesn't have that red outline. All right, cool. So now let's go back and let me get rid of all this stuff. I'll get rid of that, make this bigger. And let's just do a playthrough. So I'll get rid of that too, the editor pages. And let's do a playthrough and see what it sounds like. So here we go. Ready? Yep, okay. That's what we did so far. We need to fill this in. All right, guys. So I really appreciate you hanging out with me tonight, and it's been a pleasure to have you join me on this entire expedition, this arranging expedition. Constant reminder that if you guys like what I'm doing here and you want to see more of this kind of content, it'd be really, really, really helpful if you would donate a little bit to my Buy Me a Coffee page, like a couple bucks or something, just to help me kind of afford the setup I have here, the software, the microphones, all the stuff that I'm doing here on YouTube, bringing you into my world of fingerstyle guitar arranging and how-tos and performances and sharing experience. And if you guys would also mind just subscribing, you can do that, or you can share the video. I mean, I don't know how many people are doing this level of detail, showing you exactly, with all the warts and mistakes and all, showing you their creative process of arranging a popular song such as this one. So with that, guys, I'm going to go ahead and sign off, and I hope you guys have a great day, and I hope that you do definitely consider donating or subscribing or just kind of interacting and becoming a member of the SixStringSpice little YouTube channel here. And please, if you have any questions, go ahead and reach out. So have a good night. Bye.